Hi, have a good day. My name is Angelico V. Lardo, studied at Hingoog City Colleges, taking course of Bachelor of Science and Criminology. Today, we will tackle about some lessons of ethics. So, lesson 1. Why do you need to study ethics and the importance of rules? There is a moral experience in it. It is any encounter wherein a person understands that the values he or she believes to be important are either realized or thwarted. In this concept of moral experience, declare that the encounter is not limited to situations fraught with ethical questions, but that moral experience happens even in mundane everyday settings wherein you take actions based on your moral standards. So next is the importance of rules to social beings. Rule defined as a statement that tells you what is or is not allowed in a particular situation, and rules are in place to manage harmful behaviors. It hopes to prevent cause and it aims to encourage stability to social beings. So let's move on to the second topic, which is about moral and non-moral standard. Moral standard is a code of what is right and wrong without reference to specific behaviors or belief. It deals with matters that the person thinks have serious consequences. So there is a 6 characteristic of moral standards. First is moral standards involve behaviors that seriously affect other people's well-being. Second, moral standards take a more important considerations than the other standards, including self-interest. Third, moral standards do not depend on any external authority, but in how the person perceives the reasonableness of the action. Fourth, moral standards are believed to be universal. Then fifth, moral standards are based on objectivity. Sixth, the last 6 characteristic of moral standards is moral standards are associated with vocabulary that depicts on emotion or feelings. Next is the non-moral standards. Non-moral standards can be considered as relative standards by which something or someone is judged as either good or bad. So rules of non-moral standards vary because these rules depend on the guidelines agreed by a particular group. So moral standards versus rules in other life. First one is the etiquette. So etiquette, it is a set of rules on how an individual should responsibly behave in the society. Next, second one is policy. Policy is a clear and a simple statement of how an organization plans to handle its services, actions, or business. It is a guiding rules to help with decision making. That one is policy. Third one is law. Law, it is a rule created and enforced by the government and its agencies to maintain order, resolve disputes, and protect a person's liberty and rights. Fourth one, the last, is commandment. Commandment is a rule that is to be strictly observed because it was said to be set by the divine entity, such as those in the 10 Commandments wherein in the Bible. There is also the advantage of owning moral standards over merely abiding by moral standards. The more important question for ethics is not what I should do or what I want to be or something like that, but you need to think or put in your mind that what kind of person should I be. I repeat, What kind of person should I be? So, next topic is about dilemma or dilemma. It is a situation in which difficult choice has to be made between two or more alternatives, especially undesirable ones. So like when you find yourself facing a problem, but the solutions available to you will only create another problem, or worse, create more problem, then you are facing dilemma. A moral dilemma is a situation where there are two or more actions that you can possibly do. There is a moral reasons for doing such actions. You cannot do all the possible actions presented to you. You only need to choose one. Three levels of moral dilemma. So first is personal moral dilemma. When your decision in a situation where there is moral conflict is the cause of either your own or the other person, or a group of people potential harm. Then organizational dilemma or organizational dilemma. When a members of the organization is a situation where there is a moral conflict, and the decision will potentially harm either some member of the group or the entire organization itself. Third one is the structural moral dilemma. When a person or a group of persons who holds a high-level positions in the society faces a morally conflicting situation wherein the entire social is affected. So now we are in a topic 5 or lesson 5. It is how culture shape human behavior. First, culture means that it is a complex phenomenon. It contains nearly all aspects of shared human experiences. There are 5 elements of culture. The 5 basic elements of culture are symbols, language, belief, values, and norms. First, symbols can be anything that a group of people find meaningful. Then language is a complex symbol system that enables human beings to communicate either verbally or through writing. Then belief. A belief are assumptions or convictions held to be true by an individual or a group of people. These assumptions or convictions could be about events, people, or things. Values also are culturally acceptable standards of behavior. It is what a person considers important or beneficial in life. Then, norms. Norm is an informal guideline by a particular group of people or social unit about what is considered normal or correct or incorrect social behavior. Now we are in a topic 6 or lesson 6, which about cultural relativism. Cultural relativism explains why one behavior or practice is completely acceptable by a particular group of people, which or while it's a taboo to another. It refers to the idea that values, knowledge, and behavior of people must be understood within its own cultural context and not by the standards of the cultures. There are also the advantages and danger of cultural relativism. By Ruckles identified 2 positive lessons we can learn from cultural relativism, or the advantages. First, it warns us from assuming that our preferences are the absolute rational standard. Then, second is it teaches us to keep an open mind and to be more amenable in discovering the truth. On the other hand, the dangers of cultural relativism are 3. First, we cannot out societal practice that promote harm. Second, we cannot justifiable criticize our own culture's harmful practice. This implies that that to decide whether your action is right or wrong, all you need to do is check whether your action is in accordance with the standards in your society. If your actions are in line with your culture, then you have done nothing wrong. Even your actions are harmful. Then, third, the idea of social progress becomes doubtful. Progress means replacing something old with something better. And now we are in the topic of universal values. Why there are universal values? The empirical basis of cultural relativism is that cultures are dramatically different in its views of what is right and what is wrong. However, when it comes to important moral issues, there are three values that are universal. The three universal culture that is shared by all cultures are the following: caring for the young. Murder is wrong. Tell me the truth. I repeat, caring for the young, murder is wrong, then tell me the truth. Now we are on the topic of Filipino ways. Qualities of the Filipino moral identity. The Filipino is a mix of both Eastern and Western cultures. The beliefs and traditions of pre-colonial Philippines was mainly indigenous Malay heritage. Then the Spanish colonized the islands and the Hispanic culture influenced the natives. In turn, the Americans shaped the modern Filipino culture, and this is primarily manifested by the English language in the Philippines today. Dr. Patricia B. Liconan wrote that the strengths and weaknesses of the Filipino character are rooted in factors such as the home environment, the social environment, history, the educational system, religion, the economic environment, the political environment, mass media, leadership, and role of models. Strengths of the Filipino character, these are the pakikipagkapwa-tao, family orientation, joy and humor, flexibility, adaptability, and creativity, hard work and industry, faith and religiosity. The last one is ability to survive. While the weaknesses of the Filipino character are extreme personalism, extreme family-centeredness, lack of discipline, passivity and lack of initiative, colonial mentality, kanya-kanya syndrome, lack of self-analysis and self-reflection. So now we are on the topic of how is moral character developed. What is moral character? First, let us take the most basic definition of the terms moral, character, and moral character. Moral is concerned with the principles of right and wrong behavior, or the goodness and badness of the human character, while character is defined as the mental and moral qualities distinct to an individual. And also, moral character refers to the existence virtues such as integrity, courage, fortitude, honesty, and loyalty. Moral character as disposition. Moral character are those disposition or the tendency to act or think in a particular way for which a person can be held morally responsible, and thus moral character traits are rational, informed, stable, and reliable disposition. In Aristotle and virtue ethics. Virtue ethics is an approach that reduces the emphasis on roles, consequences, and particular acts. Instead, virtue ethics focus on the quality of the person. Then, what does it mean to be a good person? Aristotle believed that humans have an essence. He called this essence proper functioning, where everything has a function on the thing that performs as intended is called good when it is able to fulfill the function. So now we are in the last topic about stages of moral development. covered by Lawrence Colbert's stages of moral development. Colbert's research focused on the moral development of children, particularly on how they develop a sense of what is right or wrong, as well as justice. Colbert's theory in his research, Colbert's would ask children and adults to try to solve moral dilemma in short and ask the participants to think out loud so he could follow their reasoning. After looking at hundreds of interviews, using several stories, Colbert outlined 3 broad levels and 6 specific stages of moral development. First, level 1 is pre-conventional morality. The judgments of this level is solely focused on the self-commitment. In stage 1, punishment, obedience, orientation, this is also called the pre-moral stage, where the vision or decisions and actions are determined by immediate physical consequences and not the true moral value. So, in stage 2, reward orientation. Let's proceed to level 2, the conventional morality. This level of moral reasoning is typical of adolescents and adults. This stage 3, good boy, good girl orientation. Stage 4 is about authority and it's about authority orientation. And level 3, post-conventional. In post-conventional, this is also known as the principled level. It is marked by a growing realization that people are unique and are an independent part of the society. So in stage 5, social contract orientation. This stage means the individual is aware that much of what is considered to be moral or good. So stage 6, ethical principle orientation. At this point, the social contract takes a clear backseat and the person makes personal commitment. And that all for today. Thank you for listening and God bless. Again, I am Angelica V. Ilardo.